Welcome back to Non Niche. This is Raquel here, and our next guest is Chelsey Armfield. She is the author of The Real Glow Up and Heal to Glow. Honestly, we're all trying to glow and heal and grow in this world and become successful, but it does start with our foundation. And she gives wonderful passages in her book on how she did and how just take one day at a time. And I think we all kind of need that knowledge because sometimes we're so stuck in our present of like us not moving forward instead of just focusing on our healing. So she does that so effortlessly. So I can't wait for you to see her in this interview. So let's check it out. There it is. Hi.
Hi.
I was like, I kept on it trying to accept. I'm like, is it working? And I clicked on it again. I'm like, because usually it gets quite fuzzy. And I was just like, I'm not seeing the fuzz. So this is the clearest it's ever gotten. So that's progress in the Instagram world lately.
Oh, good. This is I think it's my first Instagram live, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to your first Instagram live. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I thought today was Tuesday, but it is Thursday. So I don't know if that's just been me just kind of hightailing it for the rest of the week, and I'm just forgetting what day it is, and it's just a little bit crazy. What about you?
The week has been flying by, but I knew it was Thursday just because I was looking forward to this.
Yeah.
But the week is flying by for me.
It definitely is. I'm just like, we just had Monday not too long ago, and I was texting like one of my friends, and she's like, today's Wednesday. I'm like, yes, I do have the interview on Thursday. And she's like, yeah, tomorrow. Okay. But I planned out everything, so I've just been good. No, but I'm really excited about this, and I really appreciate you like joining and willing to talk to us about more about your book. And I found you on TikTok, and I've personally have been going through my own healing journey, and I feel like I'm on the end of it, but at the same time, like I feel like we all heal throughout each stage of life that we go through because there's always new situations and changes. But I would really love like how you got started with, I know it took you like 3 years, I believe you said, to write the book.
Yeah, it took a while. And there's a few different reasons for that. But I would say writing the book took about a year for the first draft, and then I got it edited and tried pitching it to literary agents, and I wasn't getting any bites.
Right.
And then I had sat on it for so long that I was like, okay, I need to like really dive in and kind of make sure it still resonates with how I feel now. And so I kind of had to do like a heavy revise and then self-publish.
Well, that's awesome. Like self-publishing, I feel like nowadays is more accessible than just like giving it to somebody because you do have to create your own opportunities because somebody out there needs it. And like you were led by that feeling like somebody needs this, so I'm just gonna, push that out because it's healing. Like especially right now with, beginning with COVID or whatever is going, like with the layoffs of unemployment, a lot of people are going through an awakening if they realize it or not, and trying to find like, okay, well, how can I heal this? Like sometimes, like for me, I had to start from the very beginning. I know when I lost my job, was it July? Yeah, it was July 2022, and I'm still technically unemployed. But I had to start like anew, and I like came across your TikTok, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's great. And my friend lent me The Real Glow Up, and I've been reading it, and I was just like, this is amazing. This is exactly like what I needed because, you know, we all go through things in life, but yet it's nice to know you're not alone, you know?
Definitely.
So just reading that was just really helpful. And I'm glad you self-published it because a lot more people actually need it. And they do read it. And I just commend you for that.
Thank you. you. That's so cool that you found me on TikTok and that you were able to borrow the copy from your friend. That's a small world, I'm
Right?
still getting used to like, sales have been increasing. It's still kind of weird. You're like, I don't know how many people are going to buy this. And so even just hearing that is a really cool feeling. And I'm just happy that it resonated with you because that's all I could ever want is someone to feel less alone on their healing and self-love journey.
So, like, I know you came out with a journal as well.
Yeah.
So, talk to me more about the journal.
Yeah, so the journal is pretty simple,
Okay.
but for me, when I started therapy a few years back, um, one of the things she suggested is journaling.
Hmm.
And sometimes you don't know where to start, and it can be
Yeah.
overwhelming. And I found through some of her advice and just through kind of assessing my needs in that moment, I came up with a format that really helped me to process my feelings, practice self-compassion,
Hmm.
which in a sense is kind of allows you to comfort like your inner child,
Right.
and um, and then kind of like end on a note of gratitude. And so it's like a way to be honest with yourself about your feelings, but also end on like a note that isn't going to leave you feeling heavy or sad. Because sometimes people don't want to journal
Hmm.
because they're like, I don't have time to break down right now or get into the mess of my feelings. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a way to do that without like throwing off your entire day. I don't know if that makes sense,
It
but for
does.
me, it was a format that really helped. Yeah.
It does because, like, sometimes, like, I know I journal every day. Like, that's like part of like my morning meditation for me. Like, I start today like with like some really good music, and I just write. And I don't give myself a time limit unless like I have something to do that day, but I always give myself like a hard 30 minutes. And when I started back journaling, um, I really had to do a lot of healing. And the 30 minutes almost took to like 2 hours sometimes because you just kind of have to let it flow. And not a lot of people have like the 2 hours just to sit down and be still and be honest with themselves.
Mhm.
And I think that's why people don't understand like how journaling is very powerful, because that is just you and your words and like you talking to yourself without looking crazy. And just like saying like, yeah, like, this kind of made me upset and it shouldn't, but why isn't it making me upset? So journaling is a very healing process because it will show you your reflection of like what you possibly need to work on. And then it's nice once you heal from it because you go back, you
Mhm.
can actually see how far you've come. And I think
Yeah,
that's what it's a lovely way of how you kind of set it up, because you just did like the bullet points and also had like the lines where it's easy to break down without being like looking at a huge blank page. You're just like, I don't know where to start.
exactly. Because I completely relate to what you said, where you, especially in the early stages of healing, you could be journaling for an hour plus or 2 hours,
Yeah.
like, especially if there's a lot of stuff you've been avoiding and you're finally letting it all out. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be overwhelming for someone who's new to journaling. So having it kind of condensed is a way to just, I guess, streamline it for either a beginner or for someone who doesn't have an hour or two
Right.
to really do a deep dive,
Yeah.
which is really helpful. But yeah,
And I think sometimes there's nothing wrong with it. And sometimes when I first started journaling, even as a kid, like I used to, you remember that one game where it's like MASH and it's like MASH, and you used to do that game?
yeah,
And that was like my way of like manifesting certain things and just kind of like break up with the, you know, just the kind of mundane of like writing words on a paper that you didn't quite resonate with. So I did something like I made like a swirl, and that just kind of relaxed my brain a little bit. So I think it's really nice. And honestly, I think your book is doing quite well. Um, as I've done my research on it, like your numbers are still really good. And then, yeah, I've asked multiple friends, even outside the country. I was just like, hey, have you heard of this? They're like, yeah, I have the book. So like 8.
Wow.
Like I've talked to somebody from the Netherlands, UK, Dallas mainly, Nashville. Um, yeah, those are the main ones that I've had, and that's been really helping people. So
Wow.
as long as you, I always say, like you said before, like if you can reach out to one person and help resonate, I think that is a blessing within itself. And, you know, that's kind of what we need right now. A lot of people are just feeling the shift of saying, like, hey, I really do need to get myself together and I have to be at square one. And building a foundation of like peace and serenity and balance is not glamorous,
Mm-mm.
but
Not at all.
eventually, like it will get glamorous later. And that's why I
Oh
was
yeah.
just saying, like the real glow up was just like the perfect title to actually name it, because when you start, you're ugly crying for like a good 6 months.
Oh
Because you're
yeah.
just like, I am falling apart.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're depressed, and sometimes you're not, and sometimes you're just like still.
Mhm.
And, you know, um, like me, I know I had to relive like losing my dad in like 2015, and I don't remember my graduation because that's when he died. And it was like during finals week, and I said, I was talking to my mom about it the other day actually. I was just like, I don't remember any, I just remember my dad dying.
Yeah.
And I never really quite registered like how I felt because I had to keep going. Like I had to graduate. I don't remember my graduation in college at all. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't remember that. So I when you said like, you had a passing, and I'm not gonna share anything that you're not comfortable with sharing because this is about you, not me. So
I'm okay with you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Anything that's in the book,
yeah,
yeah, it's for
okay. So
you.
I related well to that, and just really kind of going back to that, and having peace with that. So
Hmm.
I would love for you to talk about more and like how your life is going, and then what your goals are.
Yeah. First off, I'm sorry about your father. That's really
Yeah,
tough. I
it's
can relate to not being able to really process those feelings in the moment, especially if you have other responsibilities and it's like you kind of go into survival mode
mm-hmm.
and you just kind of numb it out, but eventually those feelings catch up to you and
Yeah.
a lot of healing is necessary and everything just gets kicked up and it's crazy how it can just completely reassemble your life.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully for the better in some ways, although it's a tragedy no
Yeah.
matter how you look at it. Um, but yeah, I resonated a lot with what you just said, so I wanted to say that. But what was your question? I'm sorry.
I just how you've kind of gotten yourself throughout your healing process, and like how you're, I would say you're thriving right
Oh,
now,
thank you.
but like I feel thriving doesn't always mean like lights, camera, action, you're better than anybody. It's thriving is basically, in my definition, is actually seeing the light in another day. Like you can actually see it and obtain it, and having that peace. And people's peace of mind is like a priceless, it's like it's priceless. So from going to like, you know, deep diving into the depths of like what you had to go through, and then
Yeah.
to where you are now, like I would love like kind of like a short, I know I have you on limited time, so I'm trying to ask as many
No, it's
questions as
okay.
possible, but just from A to B, like the main thing and of how you've transformed, because it's always a transition and a transformation when you decide to actually keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I guess just to give a reference of what sparked my healing journey,
Mm-hmm.
I was working full time. I was planning my wedding, without a wedding planner. It was just, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to be like, I was such a perfectionist in every sense of the word. And
Mm-hmm.
I did not know how to sit down and feel my feelings. I drank much more than I should have. Like, I just wasn't living in a way that was healthy for my mental health. And that caught up to me and I started experiencing panic attacks for the first time in my life. And I had one, at least one every day for a month. And I thought that was my new normal. I was terrified. So then I started going to therapy, and luckily I was able to get a hold on the panic attack situation, but that was the indicator that something needed to change. And that kind of opened up the floor to seeing, okay, I'm not living in a very healthy way. I might seem like on the outside that I'm successful or I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
well, but I'm not actually doing well at all because I'm neglecting my emotions, my needs for rest and balance. Um, I'm way too hard on myself. I might not be surrounding myself with the best people. And so it just kind of like cracked open this whole new world of, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I wasn't living well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's what sparked it all. And then, you know, my dad passed about a year after that. So that just kind of
Yeah.
continued to blow things open. And just like, I just was really in the most raw, vulnerable place I've ever been in my life. And I was trying to be really intentional about the decisions I made in that phase of my life because I knew I could either become better from it or I could just fall into destructive patterns like I had been for so long. And so I really just went on a journey of uh, reestablishing like all my habits. I was spending a lot of time alone so I can get to know myself and who I am without all the outside noise. And it was lonely, it was hard. It felt, I just felt like a fish out of water the whole time. But I knew enough of the basics to like put one foot in front of the other. And I followed a lot of different social media accounts and read books that kind of helped guide me just at least to know what the next step was on my healing journey. And once I kind of got a footing and I understood the basics, that's when I got inspired to start writing that book. Because for me, I was going and piecing together, okay, like I need to do this to process my emotions. I need to do this to incorporate more rest and work on perfectionism. And so once I kind of had already done that, I was like, wow, I wonder if there's someone else like me who could just benefit from having a guide put together for them so they don't have to go search for that information quite as much
Right.
because it's already such an overwhelming undertaking to go on a healing journey. And just, you know, there's still so many important things like therapy and things you can do
Mm-hmm.
in tandem, but it's just a starting place for someone who wants to heal. And it's also a good reminder if you have already been on a healing journey, it's just a reminder of the things that'll keep you grounded and help you move forward. Because sometimes we practice things and then we forget them. I know I do. I preach
No,
rest,
it's it.
and then I'm like,
It's
oh, I can't let myself rest. I'm like, oh my gosh.
no. No, I totally get it. Like, I've probably been cooped up for like because I got a divorce with my ex husband, and that was really hard for me because like when you were talking about like knowing who you were surrounding yourself with does
Mm-hmm.
play a part, and I wasn't surrounding myself with the best environment like on the outside as well on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say he was a horrible person, it's just like, you know, people just evolve separately
Mm-hmm.
and people tend to stick together. But to me, in my nature, if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if I've given like 50,000% that I could
Mm-hmm.
and it's still not working and it's still the same thing, then I just remove myself because that's not fair to me or that person involved.
Yeah.
So going through that and being unemployed and then also trying to heal and, you know, trying not to worry like my mom, and you know it's hard to have those resources with it. You know, of course you can go within, but sometimes you're so confused of like what your real inner voice is
Mm-hmm.
to actually navigate like what's good for you and what's not. And I feel like I made a lot of progress, but I have not been outside the world because one, I don't have any money. So my friend took me to the Renaissance Fair, and I'm just like, I almost had a panic attack just thinking about going in the outside world. I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be alcohol, and I'm like, I'm not gonna drink. I don't feel comfortable, and I didn't drink, and I'm really excited because like I don't want to like I'm not saying like I'm an alcoholic, but I did abuse alcohol
Mhm.
and got myself into trouble with my health, and it started like deteriorating my
Oh,
body. Um, but I didn't. I just kind of stayed true to myself, and I felt like that was one like something that I was scared to do because eventually you are gonna have to go in the real world and coexist and
yeah.
like authentically coexist without putting yourself in a situation where you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
So when you are healing, that's still kind of like you just got out of your shell and you're feeling a little bit more exposed than
Mhm.
what you would like to be because you're also still figuring out, and then you're trying to meet new people, and it's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to my cocoon.
Yeah. I
And
think it can be,
then like you
I think
you
it can
just journal.
yeah. Yeah. Let me go back to my safe space that
Right.
I protected. Yeah, it's like such a terrifying feeling when you're finally like you're healing and you're being more vulnerable and you're like getting in touch with this side of yourself you've neglected for so long, and then you have to go face the world and it's like I don't know how to socialize as this person,
Yeah.
and you just feel so vulnerable and like it's a weird feeling because it takes some time to get comfortable with like a newer version of yourself, and yeah, it's not always well received. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I haven't had anyone be mean or anything about my healing journey, but sometimes I just feel like some people feel awkward about it because they're not on a healing journey and they're like, "What? That's just weird. Like,
Yeah.
go to work, be normal, have a beer." I'm like, we're just on different paths.
Yeah.
So,
And there's nothing wrong with them. It's just like, where people think like, oh, you're on a healing journey. You're like, I'm not saying that I'm better. I'm just trying to make
right.
myself better. Like this is a personal thing. This has nothing to do with you. And if like you're irritated and triggered by that, that's something that you have to deal with. That's not for me to heal. And I think that's nowadays people kind of find that selfish. And I think that was like my biggest problem of me being myself, and how I would react would be selfish.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, no, that's just me, because like I always have good intentions towards everybody. I want everybody to win. Like I have no ill will towards anybody, and I think that's the best way to live. But you also have to be authentically yourself, because you have to live with yourself every day. These people are not always going to be around. So
Right.
when you do heal, and sometimes you do grow apart from the people you thought you were going to be there for years
Mhm.
in your life. So no, I totally like literally the reflection when I was reading it. I was just like, man, this is hitting home. I was like, ooh, but it was just so good. And like you have Heal to Grow, and I posted it on LinkedIn, and I got many messages about it. So I've been giving out your website to people, and
Thank you.
know if you might have a couple of DMs in your Instagram or website, but no, I think you're doing a great job, and I'm sad that you went through that, but I'm also happy that you did, because you were able to help so many people, and sometimes our worst moments do help other people, and
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and I'm just like, well, hell, I didn't want to go through
Yeah,
it, but I
no.
did.
The beginning is certainly not fun.
Yeah. But no, so what's next? Are you just basking in the glow series, or are you thinking about doing another one?
So I guess I'm focusing on two different things right now. Um, One is learning how to market
Mm.
myself because I would write the books and then be like, okay, because I'm not a very salesy person, so I'm trying to get more comfortable with just sharing my work. So that's been something I've been working a lot on the past few months, and It's nice. It's funny. If you tell people about your book, they actually want to buy it. It's like
Yeah, you're like, oh, you're
if
listening?
yeah, if you're not going to sell yourself, no one else is, especially if you're not, traditionally published. So that's
Yes.
been a big thing I've been focusing on, but I'm also writing another book right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's I don't know how long this is going to be, but I mean, I just feel so passionate about writing about the self-love journey and healing. And so I'm actually going to be writing a novel with the same themes. So just a different way to communicate, what that journey could look like.
Mhm. Well, that's awesome. I think inner work is always something to explore. And I know for me, inner work is not always easy depending on the situation. But as you go through those stages of learning and growing, I believe that it gets easier,
It
you
does.
know? And I think that's where people just listen and pay attention to, like, oh, it's so easy. But they just forget the whole other monologue. Like, I was crying in the corner not too long ago.
Yeah.
But they're just like, oh, but you said it's easy. I'm like, nothing worth healing comes easy. It's
Yeah.
like a scab. Like, if you keep picking at it, it's not going to heal
Yeah.
because you keep on opening it. It's just like you
Mhm.
have to let it heal when it's supposed to heal. And sometimes healing journeys take a little bit longer than anybody else's. Like you can't really quite compare. And
Mhm.
I think in your book, you leave that to be open to the general public because you don't say like this is you don't give it like a time frame.
Mhm.
I guess I should say that. You don't
Yeah.
put any time frame or bracket of like, well, you should be at this stage at this certain time. It's just a flow. And
Yeah.
a lot of the times like we have so many templates out there. We have so many, Canva journals and tips and tricks like you got to get here to A, B to C
Yeah.
and all of these steps and you think you're kind of have to be rushed and go to the ball, but honestly it's just a flow
Yeah.
because everybody's different. So I really respect that because it's already nerve wracking to go through that journey by yourself
Mhm.
and hopefully you have somebody to support you and no, I think you do that successfully. So I'm excited about your next book.
Thank
And if you need any marketing, I typically just promote anybody that I see. So I do that for free, and I'll be your number
you. Oh,
one
thank
supporter
you.
if you help with
Vice
anything.
versa.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
I know. Do I have you until like
Yeah.
maybe 4 more minutes? 7?
Um, if you'd like, I can stay as long as 4:15.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
whatever works for you.
Okay. Because it's just like I know you have an appointment. I don't want you to rush, so I want to keep
I
you at the
yeah,
right time bracket.
yeah, 4:15 is fine. I said 30 minutes just because I didn't know if it'd go over, but
Gotcha.
4:15
Yeah.
is like a hard stop.
Yeah. No. So now you're in a happier state. Are you still like in Washington?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Still here.
Living your life, having your friends, going out, working, novelist,
Yeah,
and
I
your
would
dog.
say it's funny. I'm not very social in the winter months or like even spring. I always say I like thaw. My personality thaws a little bit in the spring because for some reason I always just hunker down and like write and
Hmm.
focus on, you know, career goals in the winter. But then summer, it feels like I'm seeing people all the time. So it's like I'm gearing up for that that
I know
next phase.
everybody's out in the summer, and I said like I've been like putting myself out there because I want this to be on a bigger platform, possibly,
Yeah.
or whatever opportunity comes. But I know in the summer people are just gonna be out, and
Yeah.
I was just out at a Renaissance fair, and I was just like, I'm gonna be around people, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So just having that the pep talks in the car are going to be a little bit long when you get out of the car and like in the mirror, your mirror meditation. Like
Yeah.
I'm still going to keep up with like the journaling, but no, people are going to be out. I totally get that because I think I started this platform in January and I just got it trademarked last month, and
Oh,
I'm trying. Well,
congrats.
thank you.
Yeah.
But no, I totally get that. You know, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
I think summer is like when it's officially open and everybody's just ready to be out anyway,
Yeah.
because April kind of brings the showers. But no, I totally understand that, and I am a very strong homebody if
Me
I can.
too. That's summers are rough in a sense because I'm like, okay, you can do this. And of course, like set boundaries and you don't have to go all the time, but
Right.
it's hard when you don't. I mean, since I'm in Washington, we have really cold, dreary winters where just no one wants to go out and socialize. But then we have beautiful summers, so that's why it just like naturally has
Yeah.
that pace. And yeah, it's hard because I'm like, I want to see all these people, but I have to be careful because I will be drained so quick.
Yeah, I remember coming back and I took a shower and I went straight to bed. I was just like, I'm depleted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like in the sun, and it was like we got there at 11 a.m. and it was like 3 p.m. I was just like, look, I'm ready to go home now. So,
Yeah. I'm a
and
big proponent of leaving early.
yes, I believe in the Irish goodbye, like
Yes.
completely. If necessary, I will do
Yeah.
that. I'll send a text that I got home like, "Hey, thank you for the invite. I'm home."
Yeah.
They're just like looking around, like, "Where is she?" Oh, yeah, she went home. But no, I totally get it. And just to circle back for the few
Yeah.
minutes, like, what would be the best words of like somebody who hasn't read your book to maybe who are just starting out on their journey, like how to come up with the best methods to heal if they can't either afford like therapy or having that strong support where you do have to do it alone, because it is like
Yeah.
a lot of inner work that you do have to do for yourself, more or less. But you know, it's
Yeah.
nice to have the support, but when you don't, what would your best advice be?
Oh, that's a good question. It's kind of it's interesting because what you don't know, you can't heal. So in one sense, I would just say start with curiosity. Start
Mm-hmm.
just paying attention to what triggers you and then ask yourself, journal on it and be like, okay, well, why would this trigger me? Did something happen in my past that might have, mimicked this emotion or, felt like this? And, once you can kind of figure out what in your past could still
Mm-hmm.
be, I don't want to say like haunting you, but just lingering and never was resolved. If you can figure out what those things are, I would just say to then have a lot of self-compassion with yourself and journal about it. Journal about it, be cringe, it doesn't matter. Be
Yeah.
angry, be sad, shred. I actually shred my journals after I fill them up. It's just something I like. It gives me peace. I kind of envy the ability to go back and read them because I think that could be really cool. But I just have, it brings me peace when I can just shred them because I'm like, whoo, that was a lot.
Well, it's like another form of a release,
Yeah.
really. But sometimes, like for me, I know that I'm still working on it today for myself. It's just like I keep moving forward, but I keep on forgetting how far I've come. So
Mhm.
I feel like I'm not seeing progress, but I am the progress. So I have to, and that's something that I personally do. And I just have to like look like how I got started.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, we're still good.
Yeah.
So, but when you do shred, and sometimes like when I'm dealing with um certain like strong traumas where I'm just like, okay, I have nothing else to do but to release, I do shred or burn it or something, like have like a special ceremony
Yeah.
for it, because it's just, I'm a visual learner, but like it kind of like, I wouldn't say trick the mind, but it just like correlates with the mind saying like it's gone, like it's done,
Yeah.
it's released, you let it go, it's gone, you
Yeah.
know. So I think I totally understand the
Yeah.
shredding.
It's just sometimes there's so much personal stuff in there that you're like, you've hidden from yourself because it was too much. And then you're like, oh, I sure as hell don't want anyone else to get their hands on this.
Oh no, I'm not ashamed. I think the only person I would be worried about would probably be my mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, she doesn't need to see like all my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Especially
just like anyone you're venting about, like, I could get in an argument with my husband and then I'll go vent it out and then I'll be like, we have a lot of trust. I know he would never read my journals and I would never even be petty. I'd be like, I don't know why he feels this way. It's like actually
yeah.
pretty mature how I'll write about it, but so I don't know. I don't actually have anyone in my life that could read my journals, but it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like the little girl in me who's like
No, I
reading
totally
it.
understand. You remember the one journal where you got like an invisible pen and with the locket?
Oh no, that's
Yeah,
cool.
it was invisible like marker, and the trick of how they marketed it was the fact that one, it was invisible, but it always went out like maybe 2 to 3 weeks, so you had to get a new one. That was the only
Oh yeah,
way.
that's
That's how honestly they made their money, because the book was really thick and it
yeah,
was like for young kids. It was little, and the book was thick, but the pen just would just go out. But you needed to keep it invisible,
yeah,
and you had the ultraviolet light, so it kind of makes you feel like you were like on Sherlock
yeah.
Holmes, or like the what was it called, the something files. I can't remember
Oh,
what that show. Is it like the CS files or
something
something?
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like kind of investigating, and you just
yeah.
had the ultraviolet light to go over. But it was cool. So that's how I started journaling. But no, I totally understand. I, I, the thing is for me, it's just like certain situations I know that I've personally been through.
Mhm.
My mom would die and not let me. Like, I live alone, but well,
Yeah.
like I have my own place now. But
Yeah.
like she would be like, "Oh my gosh, she went through that." She would literally just lock me in my old room, because she still has the old house. So she'll
Okay.
just lock me in the room and never let me come home.
Oh no.
We were all teenagers. We've done
Yeah.
things. We've seen things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't need her to see
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Some things are better left
Yeah,
untold.
exactly. But no, I'm excited for your journey and I count your journal as a book. So your fourth book,
Oh, thank
and how the self inner healing is going to work out, and I can't wait for that to come out and see more. If you need help marketing, honestly, just reach out and I'll create something so you can keep writing or
oh, thank
whatever,
you.
or promote what you have, and I'll link it on like non-niche or something like that, and get you all together. And my only problem for me is like TikTok. I I get it. It's just that I don't understand the trends all the time when
Yeah.
it comes to that. So I'm just like, I'm not the best, but I'm trying to get better at it. But I'm really good on YouTube, and I'm glad they have like those different short and search engines where it does can like condense like long file videos into like
Yeah.
5 different platforms where it can be engaging, and I can share that link with you. So if you're ever interested of like shooting something like long and you just need short form content, I'll just show you how to do that too.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's a little bit helpful, so you can just post the videos through the week. Like, you can shoot it like on the weekend and then have like your full content for that week if you need it.
Oh, very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Hopeful. I haven't heard of that yet.
Yeah, I've been trying to learn, because like trying to shoot something every day or trying to promote something every day is a little bit tiresome,
Yeah.
because you don't want to create burnout in what you love.
Yeah.
That's like very important, because if you love what you do, you want to make sure you have the right resources and the platform so you can continue to love it, but not like burn yourself out for it. So that's why I'm so glad I found that. And that was like on a late night TikTok that I found. They're like, yeah, if you just need to condense it down. I'm like, oh, I need this in my
Yeah.
life.
That's helpful. It is so easy to get burnt out on the social media aspect of.
It is. But I do remove it, because like I feel like that doesn't help my healing journey, because, especially when you stay on the For You page, some of it's not for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like for somebody else, but it's just like you can pick up so many energies. And
Yeah.
that's why I make myself like really intentional of who I do talk to. Because if you do have a low vibration or we just don't gel,
Mhm.
then I just don't engage.
Yeah.
You know? And that's like social
Healthy.
media and in person. And I'm not being rude about it. It's just like, you've worked so hard to get yourself on a higher vibration where you do love yourself.
Hmm.
You kind of protect your peace with a vengeance. Almost,
Oh
you know.
yeah. Oh,
So
oh
it's
yeah.
just like,
Like you work so hard for it. You're
yeah,
not gonna let just one person,
yeah. So you
interfere.
don't want to, rattle anything else. But no, is there anything that you want to share that, or you wanted to add? Like this whole conversation is going to be up on YouTube, so
Oh,
I'll let you
cool.
know when that comes out. Hopefully tomorrow, since I
Oh,
had a template and everything made. So I'm just
wow.
like, oh, okay, that's helpful. Uh,
I'm so impressed. Though I don't have anything else to say personally, but I'm very impressed with how you've like it seems like you're always doing interviews. I always have the lives pop up.
uh,
Like, non-niche live, and I'm normally in the middle of something, so I can't stop and watch it. But I love that they're on YouTube because I'm gonna definitely go watch those.
oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, but like your marketing, everything is just on point, and I can just tell you're so dedicated, and it's really cool to
Oh,
see. Like
oh,
building something from scratch is so cool, and I admire it.
well, I'm glad you're part of the community now. So I appreciate your kind words.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just had this for 3 months and it would not go away in my mind. So I was just like, okay, well, I thought it was just going to be my personal brand. And it just kind of got bigger than me. And like when you said, when you were starting to write in your journal, it's like, okay, this has gotten bigger than me and I want to share it. So that's kind of how I felt with like non-niche. It's just like, I want to be able to help people be seen and have like another platform where they could talk about their work, because I don't want
Yeah.
people to feel like, oh, well, nobody's gonna really listen to it. I'm like, I'll make people listen. It's not that like I'll push it out somewhere. Like the more engagement that you have on a product, that builds up the views anyway. So might as well
Yeah.
just it just takes one person.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy. And um, I don't, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going with my gut every day, reaching out to strangers. I'm like, hi, you may think that I'm spam, but I'm really interested in interviewing
Oh,
you.
I was
But
so happy you reached out.
yeah, and like, you're a cool person, and, reading your book, honestly, I know social media friends or whatnot, it made me like kind of have a glimpse of like who you are, like in your heart space. So I just really appreciate you and thank you for creating that book. And you've helped probably more people than you realize.
Oh,
So
thank you.
I just
That
want to
feels
say
good
thank
to hear.
you. You're doing so many great things. And I know I got 2 more minutes, but I just want to say I've been looking at the clock. I'm like, I'm not going to keep you too long, but
You're
no, you're
so
doing
on top
great
of
things.
everything.
Okay.
No, I'm impressed by how organized you've been with everything so far.
Oh, well, thank you. But no, you're doing great things, and I can't wait for your new book. And like I said, if you need anything, just reach out to me. I don't mind. I'm typically on my computer and my phone all the time.
Yeah.
So, um, if you like I said, if you need anything, just reach out, and I'm always right here.
Thank you. You too. Like, I don't know how I can help, but let me know.
Well, you can just share your experience, or
Yeah.
and get it's just like building a community and engaging with others. So
Yeah.
there's other authors on here as well. So if you want to collaborate or just support, that's all it is. Just showing support whenever
Yeah.
you can.
I can do that.
Yeah. But no, I'm gonna let you go to your appointment. And
Okay.
again, Chelsey, I really appreciate you taking the time out and sitting with me and talking about your new journey and how you've gotten from point A to point B to where you are currently. And I can just feel you beaming on this side.
Oh,
And I know we're not in the same room, but I'm grateful for what you've done and what products you put out into the world, because there's just so many other things that's not helpful, but you definitely do help the community. So I just want to say thank you.
thank you.
All right. I'm gonna let you go now. It's it's 14.
On top of it.
Yeah. But you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll have this posted either later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure to share it too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.